Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Good Servant Show. Praise Jesus. Let me click off of here. Alrighty, guys. I sort of rushed the intro there, but I don't think anybody's a big fan of the song. So let's see how everybody is doing. Oh, there is the Book of His Grace. Hey, guess what? It is weird, man, about the comments. Um, uh, Bubba was having the same issue as I was, where all of our comments were being deleted, were being deleted on Rapture channels and all that. So anyway, I left you a message on both of your channels, Book of His Grace, and I think your name is Daniel. I'm not sure, but I left a few messages and I thought they were being deleted. Yeah, it's real weird, man. Real weird. And then Cindy, same thing happened. I got what you were trying to say, but the messages were double. First, it was double, sending double messages, and then it wasn't deleting them, and then it was deleting them. I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with possible departure out of here soon, and they're getting ready for whatever excuses or questions or whatever they got to come up with. Very, very, very strange. Yeah, very, very strange, isn't it? With the streets of gold. But yeah, you know what? It's just weird. It's just very weird. And it's possible that it's up there, but to me, it looked deleted. Like, I don't know. I guess they don't want our comments up there somewhere. Well, there's only one in the box, so I guess Cindy left. But man, there's Cindy again with these evil words, man. She sent me um, um, like a question with like 5 evil words in a row. She said, "I want to." Somebody gave me free tickets to a. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Somebody gave you free tickets to a Santana band, right? A tribute band, and the band's name was Soul Sacrifice, and it was going to be hotter than hell in there, is what you said. I mean, think about all these words. I'm not saying you're bad, right? But just think about the state of the world. If that's what we're a little bit too close to being out of here to be rolling the dice with that kind of stuff. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying nobody's wrong or anything like that. I mean, what do I know? I don't know anything. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Even Santana is an anagram for the Satan, right? So let me say hi to, hey James, what's going on, buddy? AJM. Man, it's got to be midnight over there in UK. I thought I was gonna have Stephanie on today. She said she would do it, and so I sent her a link, and so hopefully she comes. If not, no big deal. But Bubba was sending me some stuff today, and no, I know Carlos. Yeah, I know. My mom used to hang out with him in Redwood City or something like that. Some crazy thing like that. He had a house out in Redwood City. But anyway, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, look at his last name. You can spell Satan out of it. It's just weird. But that's just how the world is nowadays. And so yeah. Phone call. It is so close. Yeah, no, but you're right. It is very close. We are very, very close. People might not agree that we are, pre-trib and following along with prophecy. It looks pretty clear to me that we are. Okay, I'm going to say that. It looks like we are we are following that path. But if you think that you're on the other end of the 1,000 years and you're waiting on the day of the Lord, well, then you know what? You're waiting on God to come back too. So let's try to be good to each other in that way, because it's same old, right? We're both waiting for Jesus. All right, guys. Stephanie's here. Yay. Okay, let me go ahead and invite her to the show. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Oops, I was on mute. I'm good. How are you?
I'm feeling
Trying to
great. I
figure it
mean,
out.
there's just so much, right, to think about and so much to discuss, and I'm just happy, right? Like, there's day-to-day life with God is amazing, right? And then plus um, all these exciting signs of prophecy happening too.
Have you been watching Brenda? Or who are you
I
watching right now?
So I do watch Brenda. And I also watch Gene Kim a little bit, and I don't agree with both of them all the way, right? But pretty close to that. I don't like the three raptures is hard to wrap my head around, because I think that one of those events is the same. The Revelation 4:1 and the one in Thessalonians chapter 4, I think, are the same event.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that one makes me laugh. Like, so when I heard that, this is why I liked it. One, either like everyone's just wrong. That's a possibility. But what if everyone is right? Like, that just made me laugh when I heard her say that, because, there's some people that are just so passionate and they just see so clearly a specific rapture, right? And they just really dig in on whichever one it is. And so it's weird because one person can say, it's before, one person can say it's after, and they both just are so certain. So when she said that, I was like, wow, that would be crazy if it really was that way. And that's why, just somebody's like focused in more on a particular one, it would be pretty cool if it was that way, where everyone's
Well,
actually kind of right. But, and that's where all the division comes from. But
you make a
yeah,
good point though, I think that's a possibility, and I also think that like a lot of times when I talk to somebody that's a no rapture person, they believe in the replacement theology, where the Christian church takes over for Israel, like takes the place, and then there's no rapture for Israel. So like obviously there'd be a lot of scripture for no rapture, but um, it's we don't take the place of Israel. Like we do, but we're not them, right? We
right.
slide in and we become the bride, but we're not unsaved Israel. That's a separate thing. And so
Right.
I think that people, um, when they do that, they don't see the rapture. But if they see that we're harvested out before that event happens, right? Because we don't need to be there. It's not that we're being rescued. It's just that we just don't need to be there.
Right. I just kind of stay purposely ignorant on all of those things, like all the different
So
camps,
you're right.
because you just it's really they can take our attention away from the truth, because like say we go a certain way, we can miss something, because I mean there's all these divisions for a reason. Like every group, like nobody could agree. So
That's
instead
right.
of like, everyone coming together at one, we have a different church on every corner that represents a portion of what everyone believes, right? And it's a way to where you can kind of cut your single eye is no longer single. It's going to be tuned into whatever that particular denomination believes. And so, I mean, I believe Jesus. I believe the Bible.
Right.
And people will ask you like, well, what denomination are you? And I Jesus,
That's
like
it. Yeah.
Jesus, right? Yeah. I
If
just
we both
it's
if we both believe the Bible is 100% true, then we agree.
Right,
That's
right.
it.
I just all those splits and things. They're just really. I mean, that was just. They're still icky to me because that was my main source of confusion. Whenever when I wasn't a believer yet, it was just, like so. There's just one right. There's all, and like not even the Christians could all agree. So there's so many different ones. Like which one? And then and I just was like, so one's right, and then everyone else is just doomed. It confused me so much. But I mean, that's how amazing God is, because He knew that was my cry since a little child, like in my heart. Like that was like when He came on me the night when He baptized me in Spirit. Like He answered that. It was like a download. He just like let me know, and it's so clear now. But It's
Yeah,
just so personal. It's amazing. Like he let me know that, just all that kind of division is just, it's the enemy, and Jesus is real, and like that is the truth. And I just
that's
stuck with
right.
that. Like that was from him. So I never want to divert from that and like pick a place.
Well, I remember having that conversation with Hannah not too long ago. Maybe it was a couple years ago or a year ago. That like just don't like hold on to that so tightly, like because like her end times belief couldn't be further from mine, but we get along. We'd never not gotten along, and it's because if there's something more true, we're willing to let it go and bring
Right.
it in
Well,
because we trust
those things
Jesus.
don't matter. Yeah, those
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
matter, right?
it
It's just
doesn't.
sad that it's really just about, I mean, I don't want to be right. I want to be righteous. And so when those things present themselves, really, like, okay, so we can't have anything without love, like nothing. And like just this, it's so clear to me. And so when we're really loving someone, we it's from him. We don't care if we're right. You know what I mean? Like we're
That's
never
right.
gonna argue with them. I mean, and scripture tells us so many times, even from Jesus, that like just to put away with wrath and all those things. So when it comes up, instead of focusing on what we're arguing about, I mean, really we should be worried about our heart, because none of that matters if our heart isn't centered in Jesus and in truth and in love. It just doesn't matter. Like you could be right. Like say someone's completely right. They have all this knowledge and they're right. Okay, but it tells you you can have all the answers, but if you don't have love, you are without nothing.
That's
So
right.
before we even go down these paths, like Jesus takes us down the path. Like I don't ever want to, like that's my first thing. Like I don't want to, even as far as like like how to serve him. I don't want to like pick something. Like before I do anything, like I want to know Jesus. I want to know him intimately, and I want him to transform me. And with that, you can't go wrong, because he'll take you down whatever path. You know what I mean? It want to be about like you have a calling, and like you make that your purpose and your identity, like your calling is, instead of Jesus. You know,
Yeah. Yes.
there's just so many deceptions in this world that we can fall to. The only
I've
way
done
away from them is staying with Jesus.
I've done that a few times, like
Right?
I put a certain thing be like I put the thing I'm dealing with before God instead of the other way around,
It's
like
weird, right? Yeah. But he
it
showed
is,
you,
and it's
yeah.
embarrassing, because
No,
like when you
it's
see it,
awesome because he shows you. He's
like
like,
get this out
this
of
is
my
the thing.
heart.
Right. But he
Yeah,
showed you. Like as
yeah,
much as say you're like, well, I don't feel like I hear him. You didn't come up with that with yourself. Like he showed you. It was a conviction.
right.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think some things like we hear him so clearly that we're like, okay, I don't even know if that was him. It was. Like when it's something that's like, especially in that type of way, like we're very closed off, and we're chasing what we think is true. So it's definitely him that has to shine that light and say, whoa, what are you doing? Like that's not me. Like you're just, you're doing works. It's not about me at all. It's always him. And so it's amazing when he comes through like that. And he always will. He always does. That's what's cool.
And sometimes, like, I feel like the less I know and the less like ability I have with what I'm dealing with, the more I get to trust him. And then it's really like you get so much more confirmation that way. Because I think he wants us to trust him for everything, even stuff that we do know. I really feel like he wants to be involved with every little bit of our life, and that's when
Oh,
I feel the
right.
most loved. Right?
Right. And for us to give up control of those little parts.
Oh, Deb's back! Yay! I haven't seen her in about a month of
Hey, Deb.
Sundays.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Deb.
Yeah, and Michael's here. He's got a nice new picture. Look how sharp
Who
he
is? I'm
is.
sorry. Sorry to put you on mute for a second. Who?
There's Michael.
Michael. Yay. Hi, Michael. Hi,
Got
everyone.
a-
Sorry. I don't put into the comments, but yeah, I'm really happy to Deb is here. I haven't heard from her in a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's here. Cindy and Book of His Grace, and I think AJM's here and James Mason. If I missed anybody, it just means I like you more than everyone else,
We
not
say
less.
that.
Oh, Bubba's here. Of course, Bubba's here. And I'll tell you what, like, he was showing me some stuff, like, that is just so, like when God does a prophecy, right? It is, like, not just true by the Bible, which that's all you need, right? But it is true in like so many other ways, like all these numbers match up, and like it's so crazy just how it's like right in about 12 ways, like when it only
Right.
needs to be right in one way. and
Right.
and so okay, so check this out. Since the 2017 no 2012 no, I'm sorry, 2017, Revelation 12 sign. It's been 1,200, no, 1,726 days since then, Stephanie. And so 726 is in the Strongs, it's harpazo, right? To be called
Oh
caught up.
wow.
1,000 is cast, like cast aside, like the chaff, right? And then 1,726 is restrainer. Is
So
that
what
insane?
if what date would that be falling on? Like with all the numbers that you gave me?
Tomorrow, tomorrow.
Okay. Is there even like
Scripture that leads to that? Sure.
well, I mean, is there even like a there wouldn't it be need to be like a feast day or
It is a feast day.
okay? So what is
It's
tomorrow then?
I forget what it's called, but it's the wheat harvest. It's the wheat.
Okay, okay. Wow, that's crazy.
I know it.
Wow.
I know it. And there's a wheat
Okay.
shortage in the world. And that's got to be symbolic too, because there's going to be a famine of truth too. Remember, so if there's a wheat shortage food wise, and then there's a wheat shortage us wise, there's going to be a famine for food and truth.
Wow.
And then did you see
That
the
is crazy. I didn't even know. I need to look up the feast day. I didn't know.
is
I
it
actually didn't know that this
Shavuot?
was.
I think it's
That
called
is so cool.
Shavuot. Shavuot, is that
Uh,
what it's called?
oh, is it Shabbat? Is that tomorrow? Okay, I'll
Well,
look it up. That's so
so
cool.
this is the
It's
cool part. This is the cool
um
part. So you know how Jesus says you won't know the day or the hour? Well, there it could be today or tomorrow, right? There is no official day for this piece, so you won't know the day exactly, or
oh that's funny.
yeah,
That's
it's
really
some weird
funny.
kind of technicality. And then the full moon is going to be on exactly midnight, right in between both days.
It's so weird because I've heard it was it's especially like Dr. Awesome.
Yeah,
He has shown like he'll line up all those things like the numbers and things just like the way they connect
yeah,
and you're like wow it's got to be this day and it
right,
really does
right,
like right now right and
yeah,
it is still amazing and I can see I don't because we don't know when so like it would be so arrogant for me to be like no it's not going to be like we
right,
don't know that's the whole point right but I
yeah.
mean it'd be amazing but I just
Mhm.
I've seen some before where I'm like, oh wow, that just is like hearing that it just makes me excited. But either way, it's like a joy that we are going to see him, and
Yeah,
so it's not just like, okay, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, then it still is going to. So it's not even like something where like we are getting our hopes up, like we're actually supposed to have continued hope. So I don't
right. I
know,
mean,
it's exciting.
when we get to him, it's gonna feel like this flew by anyway. So if it takes a little bit longer, or whatever, a few years, or however long it takes for everything to happen, like by the time we get to God, this part will just be a vapor, just be a poof. Like
Exactly. I was just talking to someone about that. Like, just all these things, like, it's just what we have to understand. Like, even, like, yes, there's all these, like, miseries and horrible things going on. But, I mean, this is just a mist. It's a vapor and it's gone. And, like, and we are forever with him. And it's not, Satan versus God, like the world makes it look like it's a battle and they're like equals, and no, absolutely not. Like, he's a pawn. God's using him to fulfill his will, to make, do you know what I mean? And so,
yeah,
because
to
he's
feed his
amazing, because
flow.
he gave us free will, because it's not just free will like we can do what we want. He wanted us to love him. He could have made people to just forced to love him. He didn't want that. And that's what happened with Lucifer. He didn't want to love God. He wanted to be God. And so we have that decision. We get to make that decision, and that is how much he loves us. And that's just, you know, it's 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 mind-boggling, just that he did all this for us. And so instead of being scared of it or worried about it or thinking about the enemy, just understanding like in the grand scale of things, this is literally nothing. And I mean, it's here today, gone tomorrow. We are with him forever and ever and ever. Like we're not going to be looking. The only thing, I mean, I just know once we face like the creator truth, like I felt like a little bit of it whenever like when he was near me, like I felt it, and you get these like it's like oh my goodness, like you're amidst truth, and you just
I
it'll be
crave
smack in our
it.
face, yeah, but
Yeah,
we won't be able to look at him and be like oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I would have followed you, but my spouse was really, like there will be none of that. We won't have words to say, but we will know immediately where we failed. We'll know
yeah,
immediately that we are deceived. And like I just, that's the kind of thing like I can think about. And I never, oh my goodness, I don't ever want to be in that position. I don't want any of us to be in that position. I want to be able to, just be able, just so
Yeah.
never letting anything else get in your way. Nothing, like no person, nobody, nothing that happens in this world, because it's nothing. Like in the grand scheme of things, within the realm of God and Jesus and the Almighty, like it's nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I just look at it like, like think about this, right? Everything that God has created that we know of, right? I mean, he could make himself any human being he wants with any level of health that he wants. He could be a rock star today and something else tomorrow, cowboy, right? And instead, he makes us, right? We're these sentient creatures that he can have anything he wants, but he chose to have us and then to commit to us for eternity, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, of course, he has the advantage of knowing us, right? Like from front to back, all the way from to the end of time, probably, because you can't add information to God, so he knows how we're going to be. But that's still that's a huge commitment to, you know, to these little creatures
But we're looking
that
at it differently because he is love. So imagine
he
just a source of
is.
love. Like he created us to be able to love. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So like it's not in our minds that we're like, whoa, we can't understand that. But to him, it's just like that is who he is. Do you know what I mean? That is
yeah,
his nature. So, and I mean, we don't know, like, I mean, there's just so much we don't know. Like if, how it was before, what was before, any of that. Like it doesn't tell us. We can speculate, we can say, we don't really know. We know where it begins. Like we know that, he spoke us he spoke the world into existence. We are made out of like, but we don't really know like if there was anything. I don't know. There's just so much that we get to find out in there, but I just know that like Jesus literally like that is the revelation of God. The Old Testament tells us it's there's just a lot of things in there where it's really best just to read the Old Testament through the lens of God, through the lens of the coming of Jesus, because every part of it just points to Him. But a lot of it is just it's before they had the revelation. It was when it was still um it was still under the law of sin and death. We are still it was you reap what you sow. Um it was all these it was but then we
I don't
see,
know.
we
Yeah,
see Jesus, and he is the representation of exactly who God is. So you have a clear lens whenever you read it, and you don't. It just takes away. I don't know how I even got to this. I just bounced over real fast, but like it takes away that like weirdness. How you can like where like is God bipolar? What's going on? How did he change? Like he didn't.
except
That some of the stories and some of the ways that they were interpreted, that was through their lens. Like where just like I don't know, I think I've talked about this, but like the book of Job is a clear one. Like he even says, like God says, well, that it's very clear that Satan is the one that does these things. But then when his friend ran and said, "Oh my goodness, God just there was the fire of God, fire from God from the sky," and so like that was their view, and Job even perceived it to be God, and so it's just, but we know that Satan is the one that kills, steals, and destroys,
yeah.
and so I don't
Hold
know,
on one
just
second. Hold on one second, Stephanie. I'm gonna
yeah,
fix your glitch real quick. I think I'm gonna. Okay, go ahead and talk.
okay,
Okay, you need to pop out and come back. Pop out and come
okay.
back.
I'm never fast at this. How do you guys do it so quickly?
So like you just you go to the bottom, right, and then you just leave, right? You just get out completely, and then click back in, and then when you beep, I'll just bring you back in.
So I don't
Like
have to hit the link from the text message.
I don't think so. Like you can just hit the back button and come back.
Okay, I don't know. I would come back like 2 minutes later, and everybody else was like, boom, boom. Okay, hold on.
Okay, all right. Poor thing. I know. I wanted to hear her, but the static was getting kind of bad. And she's right though about all this stuff, right? Like it is so interesting how oh, there was an echo too, AJM. Sorry about that. Maybe it's because hold on, maybe I have okay. Yeah, let me bring her back. There you go. Welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, you sound great.
Okay.
Yes. And so you're right, like in Job, right? It's like, and then his friends were even blaming him, right? Like, like, oh, you must have done something wrong to God, and God did this to you, kind of thing, right? And
Right.
you know,
And I mean, in the whole Old Testament is kind of that way where, it's, God gives and God takes away. But we see from the New Testament, like it's the revelation. They didn't have the full revelation yet. Like it is the mystery revealed, right? And so we see exactly who he is, that he is love, that he's not going to give and take away. That's the enemy. And so there's just a lot that we have authority, he gave us dominion, Jesus got the keys back, and so there's just so much in our hands. And so even that alone just shows like he not only like created us and we are allowed to be his children, but he loves us, and it pleases him to give us this. Like he wants us. Like
yeah,
it's not, do you know what I mean? Like it's not like that. It's exactly what the word tells us. Like he gave this to us. So it's not, you know, it's weird, that weird like false humility of like, oh, I don't know who I am, and I don't know why God, like, and I've been down there too. And like when he snatched me and pulled me out, that's when just like I realized, just like, wow, like he told us, like he tells us in the Bible who we are to him. He sent Jesus, like he loves us, he's covered us. And so,
yeah.
I was praying always, knowing like, and this is what's weird, is I had so much faith because he already done all these amazing things. So I had faith in him. But there was like, even though I didn't grow up like in a house, like I'll just say religious household period, I still had these like things from the world. I just knew, you hear things and you just assume God is the one that does this or that, and you know what I mean. And so they were in my mind. And so even though I had already, I was born again and all these amazing things happened when I prayed, like there were times when I would think like, well, I know he wants to, or I know he can, and I know he will, but does he? Like, I'm not sure. It just was enough. It was enough doubt to where there was a lot of times where I was not, it wasn't truly out of faith. I like really
Yeah.
wanted it. And the truth is, he really would want that. Like that's exactly what Jesus showed us. Like Jesus came to heal, and so whenever he like showed me these things, I was like, wow, because we really have to understand. And it was really just crazy how he showed me. We have to know
Well,
exactly who he is. That way, we're not like, you know, it has to be
well,
true faith. Like,
well,
you know what I
well,
mean? Like, know who
well,
he is. Like that is his will. He gave us the dominion. He gave like that. He gave us authority to do this, right? And it's to serve. And so people are like, well, how do we? Because I even heard, where, and I do it sometimes, where I'm like, well, if it's your will, right? But we
yeah,
can see his will by Jesus, like by what Jesus did. Like we can know his will, you know, and we are even children. We can ask him like, hey, what do you want us to do here? Like that's how amazingly intimate it is. He'll even like show us how he wants us to handle certain things,
well,
and it's
what's
not, it's just,
beautiful? What's beautiful is that, like, I know that, like, God gets this bad reputation in the mainstream, obviously, because it's, the devil's interpretation, right? But then it's like even within Christians, right? It's like there's this vision that the Old Testament God is different, right? But if you think about even just the flood, right, which is something atheists love to bring up, to say, look what God did to the world, right? Well, he gave these creatures, right, that were hybrid creatures that weren't supposed to really probably exist, right? And they had evil in their hearts continuously, and he gave them 120 years to repent and get on the boat. And so I think that that's amazing, right? Like that's way more time than we'll ever get. We're not going to get 120 years. Like we're
right.
not going to live that long.
And it's,
And
and it's, yeah, I mean, it was a very long time, and the things that they were done, like, I mean, it's even
they,
that, like, it was,
they could have repented and
like
all the good
it
shit.
was like, okay, so he baptized the entire earth, like everything. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
water. That's the symbol. Like everything goes under in water, and then the
beautiful.
righteous come up out of water. The eight of them, and he hangs this covenant. This beautiful rainbow in the sky, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to do this again. But the next time that there's a baptism, it's going to actually, like, we're going to be changed. So it's
Yeah,
just, I see Jesus in everything. It's not, you
and
know,
everything.
people can
Yeah,
stick on any of these things, right? Like you can go and try, okay, you could read something, and I don't know if it's us doing it or if it's outside forces, like, trying to like get us to see something different than what it is. But really, like, we have a choice, and I really do choose. Like, I want to see Jesus in everything, and he will show us Jesus in everything. You know what I mean? And like, because all these things, it's the Holy Spirit will show us, but it's when our heart is really, searching for truth. Because when I read something and I'm like, ooh, I don't get that, right? I really don't get stuck there. like a jolt, like you read something and you're like, okay, that doesn't seem right or whatever. It just, you know what I mean? Like something to kind of
Yeah.
like, huh, that's weird. But I know, because I know who God is. I know that it's me not understanding it. Like that is far much more possible than it is that, like, than it's God, right? Like that I maybe am just not understanding. So I take that with everything, and we all should. We all have to realize, like, we do not understand it all. So
That's right.
because he's been so clear about who he is, because he sent Jesus, his son, to die for us while we are still sinners, you know,
So
there's just this little
forgiving.
possibility that really we're maybe not seeing something. So in a situation like that where somebody's saying, I've heard all kinds of things, but it's not really about, they're not really seeking. It's kind of just like their heart is hardened and they're looking for a reason to not go to him, right? So in that kind of situation, I just pray for them to, I don't
Sure.
know, for the heart to be softened, and for humility to just, for him to
Yeah,
come, because that's what, I mean, that's what he wants. He wants everyone to come to him.
that's right. Well, I mean, that's why I think that like the people that don't make it are people that don't want to make it. I think there's so many opportunities to come to him and to like honestly seek him to where he'll help you find everything that you need to find out about him. That it's really like a choice of like several times of turning him down over and over and over again, hearing the truth. Like he's so forgiving and so like willing to wipe the slate clean and just go forward. Just go forward. Don't even worry about what you did. Just go forward. Be better. And I mean that's amazing. Like he doesn't have to tolerate that. You know what I mean? Like
But he
it's just
would, like, no, he
out
doesn't,
of
because but
love.
he's not like us. That's the whole thing,
Right.
is no, he doesn't
Right.
have to, but he's not us. Like, he is love. So it's
Yes.
not like, it's not a choice. Like, that's the
It's
thing that, like, do you
beautiful.
know what I mean? He will,. Because he's love, and he loves us.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
mean, and he didn't, like, he made us, like, we're a vessel for him. He wants to live in us. It's not like we have to be at this certain place or stop doing this or stop doing that. Like that is what pleases him. Like, he wants to be able to live inside of us. And we just, when we understand that and understand, like, it doesn't matter, like, what our mind is saying, or like we can say, well, I just don't understand, I'm not worthy. Like, because the thing that we really have to understand is, if we are sitting there thinking that something isn't, like, okay, well, if I'm like me and I don't see what he sees, why would he come live here? And then you make some type of a prayer where you're like, God, it says that you feel this way about me. If you do, show me, right? There's really no faith in that, right?
No
Like, the
faith.
the
Yeah.
difference is we're not understanding, but we're raising ourselves, like, what we see above what he's telling us. So there's multiple things wrong with that, right? The lack of faith being one, but, like, we are not trusting him at all. Like, we have to read his word and understand he means everyone when he says that. So you could be completely just, doing everything possibly wrong. And by the way, it's not wrong according to your own standards. Like, God, he wants your heart. And then the Holy Spirit comes in and does just amazing work, right? But whenever you read it and you're like, oh my goodness, that applies to me too. He means that about me. And we can see if we're not at a place yet, but we're like, okay, God, I know I'm not there, or something happens, or you lose your temper or something. Instead of, like, justifying it, go in a closet and be like, I know you did not make me for this. Like, as soon as you can, like, go to him and you just cry out to him. He didn't make us that way, and I know that this is not who you made me, and I know that you love me, and that you can change me, and that I can walk with humility and love, and it's that faith in that, and it's not, like, it's not letting it happen and then justifying it, or just making excuses, or being okay with it. That's the thing. Or even those little things that people say, well, like, well, we are only human. Yes, but he's
Right.
God,
Right.
and he's an amazing God, and he can do anything. So we limit ourselves. Like, he's not limited, but we limit it because we have no faith. Like, we think it can only be this amount or this way, and he cannot work in that because we have no faith. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to believe it. No, that's the other half of it, right? We have to believe it, and if we have just any amount of faith, right, we can move mountains, right? And so I'll read this, Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit I will put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Isn't that beautiful?
I know, I love that. It's one of my favorite verses. I love
And
that.
see, and that's even in Ezekiel when he's like, talking about like give you a new spirit, right? And that's like way after until like when Jesus leaves, right? Like we get the Holy Spirit. And so I
Right.
always
And
think it's amazing these books, right? Just how long ago they were talking about that stuff, right?
yeah, it's literally everything. It was him revealed, and like they knew they weren't going to be around for it, but their faith and their joy was still in it. So just think about that. Like they weren't going to receive it, this amazing gift, right? They were
Mhm.
not going to be part of it, but just even knowing about it, right? Like that's what gave them joy, and like they were counted faithful from that. Like it's just amazing, you know. And then there's people today where Satan has done such a job where we have this amazing thing, and then there's some people that just don't believe it's for today, and then when God never changed, he's the same forever, and there's just, it's just crazy to me because we actually live in this time when he can live inside of us. We have access directly to our Father, and, it's one of those things where it just, stop listening to people, read the Bible, like read it, like turn off everything you've ever learned and just open it up and read it. And there's so many things where, he will, and just by the humility in that saying, hey, I'm just gonna, because that knowledge we're holding on to, it seeps in when we're reading things, and we'll read it a certain way when it's, do you know what I mean? We'll see it the way that our mind knows it, right? It's just not open. So
Right.
we just clear it and we read it like it's so clear on what everything is. And it's just, seek truth, seek
Well,
him,
well,
because he
well,
can he can do anything.
at first I would have this problem, right, where I would read something that would like, make me feel maybe a little insecure, right? Like something that's convicting me a little bit. And then I'll go like try to find all these people that will tell me what I want to hear about it, to make me feel better instead of just going straight to God and saying, why do I feel convicted? What is wrong with me that I need to get
Yeah,
out?
yeah,
It
I
would be
love I
so
love
much
that you're saying that.
quicker.
It happens, like, or people won't read certain parts because they know what's in them and they get convicted them there. And that's the silliest thing you could possibly do, because that conviction is coming from a loving father. And if he's convicting you, he's not convicting you so you just know like how horrible you are. He's convicting you because he wants you to see who you are and he wants to turn you into that. Like
Yeah.
at the end of it, like the end of that conviction will be you as a new person. So it's really just important that we
We
not,
got to
that's one of
go
those things,
straight
like
to
don't
God,
justify what
right?
you're doing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
because I
right.
mean, literally, Jesus says, "Follow me." Like he's not going to say that if we can't. Like he gives us everything. He equips us with everything. None of it's our own doing. So that's what makes it so beautiful, because we can, we do screw up, right? And my life before him was wretched. It's and you, but he's the one that changes that. It's not me. He does it,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it just amazing. And that's, it's completely out of our hands. So the only way that we can actually mess up is by believing people over him. And that counts ourselves too. That's the only way. Otherwise, it's all in his control, and we will be exactly who he created us to be. We just have to put no limit on that and not make excuses. Because there's a lot of like Christianese things where you hear people say things, like it sounds humble, or it sounds, there's so many things out there, and just they are made in direct opposition of what the truth tells us, and it's just crazy. So we just, I don't know, just kind of, we need to be brainwashed, completely brainwashed from everything, like from the brainwashing, and just go in with new eyes. And he will do that, you know, and just let us, like, there's so many promises that he has for us, so many ways that he tells us that he wants to do things, the ways he wants to change us, and the prosperity he wants to bring. It's about like changing us. Like, I mean, man, I like, my heart cry is I want to be loved. I want to be, just I want to be like Jesus. I want to be able to love people and just people come to God. Like that's all I want. Not seeking anything in this world that's going to disappear. Like I want only to be as much like him. I want to be with him.
Yes. I mean, it feels good to know I'm not alone feeling that way. Like to find other people that like can understand that, because I wear people out sometimes with how much I want to talk about God.
Yeah.
And
I think
that's
a
it.
lot more people do than we think, but there's people that they wouldn't even dare to say that because they are believing a lie, right? And it's almost like, if you just really think about how silly that is like, okay, like it's really just, it's putting yourself, it's elevating yourself above truth. Like because it's like you're so deceived that you're like, you're not seeing the truth, but it's actually, it's so opposite of humility, because you're actually, um it's like you're making yourself the only one that God meant it. Like he didn't mean it about you, right? Like it can't be about me. And it's such a lie. It's not even supposed to be about you. Like you're supposed to be dead. That's the first part. Like go die. And then Jesus
Right.
can live in you and then you will have life. You know, like we can't hold on to any of those things or any of the past or how somebody did this or somebody did that or, you know, you just wouldn't understand. You didn't live this way. Like, but none of that matters because anything that was done to us, like once Jesus comes, he changes us. And we know the only reason why people do the things that they do is because they do not know who they are. They do not know God. They don't have a relationship with him. They don't have Jesus. If they did, then they wouldn't have done any of these things to us, right? Like
That's
all
right.
those type of things, the abuses and the harm and these things is because people not knowing who they are. So just, don't let that trap happen where, you are face to face with God and you just all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, no, I was so deceived. He gives
Yeah.
us so many ways out and he does it all. We just have to love truth, love him. That's what's so cool because there's no way I would have been able to do this, but
No
now
way.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many different ways I've even been
It's
that
like, how
whenever,
did
like,
we
I mean,
get
different,
here?
yeah, like even still like born again and just searching for truth, but I've gone down different things, but he always puts us right back on the right path. Like always, he always steers us right back on course, right? And it's not like I fall off and I start to believe something weird, but all, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Like he always like we can't be hesitant to seek truth and just keep seeking and seeking because scared that we're going to be deceived basically. Because if our eyes are on Jesus, we will not be deceived. So
That's
no
right.
matter where I was, if my eyes were on Jesus, he wasn't. I'm not going to be deceived. Not because of me and because I'm just so smart and I'm no because my eyes are on Jesus and he's the only one that's going to keep me on track. You know.
That's it. That's exactly it. I think people don't realize that. I think some people think they need to know all the information and have it all down perfect. And if you don't believe it the way they believe it, then you'll be deceived. And I'm like in the camp with you about this, right? With it's all about Jesus. This is the revelation of Jesus. This is
Right.
him being revealed to us as God, right? And like
Right.
we're gonna marry him, right? As his bride, right? Whatever higher level meaning that has after we're gone, right? And so it's this huge commitment with God, and he's been with us our whole lives. If our eyes are on him, we can't lose. We can't ever
No.
be deceived. Yep.
It's trusting yourself more than him. And the thing is that we have to trust him with everything. I mean, even down to, say, I've heard people pray like, okay, if there's anything inside of me that's not allowing me to get closer to you. No, I mean, trust that he is going to show you. That's the thing. That's who our father is. Like we just continue reading the word, believing the word, and just speaking to him, just talking to him and just letting him fill us up. And whenever we know him that much and we trust him that much, that kind of thing wouldn't even come to our mind because we just know like he loves us. He's not going to let anything keep us from him. So we just have this revelation of him of such truth that it's not like, okay, show me anything. Like we just know that he loves us so much that like if there is anything that we are doing or we could do that's going to get in the way, he is going to show us. Do you
That's
know what I
right.
mean? He's
That's
not
right.
like we don't have to ask him that. He will show us. And in the meantime, I know that there's sometimes that people can get stuck there like, oh, okay, there has to be something like they'll start to pray that and then they'll think, well, I'm not growing, so there must be something, and then they keep praying and asking. And but the truth is they're just not going anywhere because they're not, they're believing that. So they're only going as high as they're believing. And so we just have to like trust him enough to just do away with that, believe what he's saying, believe the word, and know who he is. Know that if there's anything that's getting your way, he is absolutely going to show you because he loves you, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's why faith is so important, right? Is because if we trust him to be there for us, right? I mean, obviously he's not going to bring us all the way this far, right? And then if we're trusting him every day and loving on him every day and we're relying on him, to take care of us and something is going to like get in our way, right? He is definitely going to let us know. Like that's
Right.
where the trust comes. In fact, the faith is more important than knowing what the obstacle is.
Oh, for sure. We don't even need to know. There's so many things that he's taking care of for us that we probably didn't even know was going on. And that's why, I really do try to keep my mind like completely away from all these things now. Like I just want to because there's a way that we can start to see things differently if we know too much about something. Or we can elevate it, right? We can elevate it and like, when we have to see that like, he didn't put out the fire for them, right? Like because that literally that's exalting the fire, right? It's giving the fire honor and he didn't have to do that. they were thrown in the fire and they came out not even smelling like smoke. Like they just came out perfectly. So we can't worry about that or what the obstacle is, because it's not about knowing what it is or even being pulled out of it. It's about knowing that we can go through it completely unscathed with him.
I've
That's
wasted so
everything.
much time. I've wasted so much time talking about things like that. You know what I mean? Like talking about this, like the sin or the obstacle or the, the problem, instead of instead of just trusting and loving and like giving out the hope. Right? Is like that.
Yeah.
None of that matters. Right? We're gonna
No,
make it through.
no. But where you did you then sit there more and go, oh my gosh, I wasted so much time? Because then you're wasting time thinking about how you wasted time. Like
Right.
from there,
Right.
you're just like, thank you. Like you just go forward. Like there, don't
Right.
look back. Don't think, oh my goodness, because really it's him that showed you, and you're just like, oh my goodness, thank you. And you move forward. Don't let any more time be taken. You know, he's just he's amazing. And the thing about faith though is it's not separate. It's not like, okay, there's faith is a part of love. Like when we know he loves us, like faith is a part of that, right? Like you can't have faith unless you really know who he is. You just can't, because
Right.
then it's more like, because you can hear it, like people are like, no, but I have faith and I prayed out of faith, and but the thing is like we can't truly have faith. It's a part, like it comes with it's part of the package. It comes when we know him, when it comes when we know that he loves us, right? When we just truly believe that, and then his love is just like it's inside of us, and that's what pours out to others, right? And it's if we don't understand him and who he is, then faith isn't going to be there. It's just a word. It's a separate thing. When really it's all together, and it's
I think like
it's a way of life. Like it is. It's not
I think
spoken about. It's how we live, right? Like we don't. So there's it's basically there's the worldly world, and then there's the spiritual world. The spiritual world you look through a different lens. It's a lens of faith. So when something comes in the mail that would normally stress you out, you just like it doesn't, because not like, and it's not because you get it and you're like, oh my goodness, and then you're like, oh, I'll pray, and then you're okay. No, like he will change it to where you don't see a thing. Something comes, something that would stress a normal person out. You get it, and you just automatically you're in this covenant with God. You don't have to run to God to be prepared and to have faith and to pray. Like you are already in that place, you know, because you know
that's
who you
right.
are in Him, because He lives inside of you. So you receive something, or something bad happens, like you're just in that place. It's just it takes every part of you over, and it's all him. So but it starts with just understanding his love. It has to be, and even that's something he gives us. Like if something's lacking there, like he will reveal it if we when we go to him, because that's all he wants. Like he wants to be able to do that. You just have to, we have to stop believing any type of lie that can get in the way of
I,
truth.
I think the thing that helped me the most, right, or one of the things that helped me the most, right, is really reading about how Jesus treated people, right? Like, how did he treat a sinner? How did he treat like a Samaritan? How did he treat a person with demons? How did he treat,
In the
like,
same way we should. Sinners
right,
ran up to
right,
Jesus. They didn't stay away from him. Like that's the same
exactly.
way. Like, so we shouldn't be a type of person where Christians are like, or people are like, oh, they're Christian, I don't want to do this in front of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, because all of
He
that's
wants to
okay. Like,
help.
we're just supposed to love the person, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's not
yeah,
about being holier than thou. Like, it should be the same way. Like, we should represent the kingdom the same way, where they just know that we love them, and it's that type of love that gets people to change. It gets people to want to see God. But the Holy Spirit, that's the work of the Holy Spirit. It's not the work of us. But yeah, Jesus
um,
was so amazing the way. I mean, he was never changing, and just everyone was around him. Like like you would think, sinners would be running away, and it's not like Jesus loved the sin, right? But it wasn't about that. He loved them, right,
yeah,
regardless of the sin.
that's right. I mean, it's like he looked at all of us like we were babies, like
Right,
his babies, whether we were grown or, or whether we were on track or not, but if we needed to be healed, he healed us, if we
right.
needed, if we needed to be corrected, he corrected us and told us the truth. I mean, this is a perfect person, like perfect, and God, and it's just so like, just, this is what a perfect person is supposed to be like,
A person of
and
love. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not even about perfection. He's
you're
love.
right. Yeah.
Like he is love. And that's why, like, it's not that he was able to do all that because he was perfect. He was able to do all that because he was loved, because he
Yeah.
was not there for himself. That's why Satan had nothing in him. Like the kingdom of this world has nothing in him. Because he's not, there's nothing in him that is for himself.
Yeah.
Everything was about God. Everything was about love. Everything was about others. Like he came to serve others. So when
Right.
there's
Think
nothing,
about
yeah,
this.
when there's nothing in there, Satan can't get any. There's it's not nothing's about him. So there's nothing that he can get his arms into. Like he can't get his hooks into anything. It's not
So
about
think
him.
about this. Think about this. This goes along with what you're just saying now. Is that remember when he made like all those fishes and all that, all the food for all the people, right? He
Mhm.
just turned all those little scraps into the big meals, right? But
Yeah,
when
the
he
eight
was
baskets and the multiple. Yeah, yeah.
right. But when he was in the desert, right, for 40 days, right, he didn't make nothing
Right.
for himself, right?
No, no one he could have because he
Nothing.
wasn't there for himself. Right.
And
I
he could
know. It's
have
so
at any
crazy.
moment,
I know. I
turned a
think you're the
rock
one.
into the
You said that like when we and I was like, oh my goodness, because I never thought about that part of it, right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh, like he. But I mean, of course he wouldn't, right? Because he. But it's still so cool. Like it just shows you, you know,
Yeah,
and
it does. Yeah.
like the
Well,
Israelites wandered for 40 years, right? And they could never get to. They never were able to do what he did, you know, in the wilderness with Satan in 40 days. Like it's just
yeah.
amazing. Like it's all just because it was for different reasons. Like he was serving, he was here to serve others. He was here as love. He was, and they
And not
were,
only
about themselves and talking about, they were never, they had no gratitude. You know what I mean? They didn't trust God. They loved themselves, which we all do. We all do until,
yeah, yeah.
until he comes and we're born again and then he
Well,
changes all these things.
the best part about like Jesus doing all that in the 40 days, right, is that like it wasn't about like, he didn't come here to do it better than anybody. He came here to do it for us.
Right.
Like this is for you. Like not to show you that you failed somewhere, but this is I'm doing this for you. And we
No.
can use that as our righteousness, right?
Right. Like he literally did absolutely nothing wrong, right? Like he did
Nothing.
nothing. And he's in that cross. And they are saying things like, well, you're God, what make get then save yourself, things like that. Like we would just completely, like if we did something and, we were being accused of doing something we didn't do, we would just be crying out to God, like, oh my goodness, get these wretched people. No.
Right.
He
This is
literally did
unfair.
absolutely nothing. He did
Mhm.
it for them and he says, forgive the Father, they know not what they do. And
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that there's ever I'm not going to say any of that, but I'm saying I will not be I will never stop seeking and never stop continuing until like we will always be able to grow. There's never going to be a place where we can stop and be like, okay, this is good.
Right,
Like
right.
that was he came and he showed us exactly who he was, said follow me. And
And
I know
to
it
come
is
from
possible.
him,
We hear all
right?
these things that say like, oh well this and that. He came as a man to let us know. Like that is to show us. It was through the Holy Spirit. Like it was he. It tells us like what was it in like Galatians that I mean he emptied himself like he and that is so we don't have excuses. Like well that was just because it was Jesus. We still hear those right all the time, but
Mhm.
the truth
It's
is
like
that just
it's like
that puts a limit, right?
it's like
It puts a limit,
not only do we come from him, right? He made us, right? But he's in us.
right?
Like that is the best thing ever.
I know, it really is.
I like it.
I know.
I
I do too.
feel happy about it.
You know,
All
I
righty.
know.
Well, it's time to hit the old dusty trail, and I needed to have this was a good show. I needed
Really?
this one. Thank you
This
so
was fun.
much for
Thank you so
coming
much. No, thank you. Good night, guys.
on. Good night. Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God because he deserves it. And please pray for the children. Please pray for anyone being victimized out there. Please pray for each other. It's important. And man, we might be very, very, very close. And I'm very, very, very excited. And I can't wait to meet you guys, in person. It's I want to meet God in person, and then I want to meet you guys, and that's going to be a great day. And so, or whatever the right thing I'm supposed to say. I want to do what God wants. And so, love you guys. Have a good day. I will see you guys tomorrow at exactly Sasquatch time of the fig tree. We are very, very close. We're cutting it close. That's for sure. And so, Lord willing, tomorrow at 6 a.m. All right. See you later, guys.